Welcome back, fuckers. And today, we're going to be essentially talking about power of the mind. And I don't know who's going to be watching this, but that's the topic today. So, my name is Johnny Strickland. Welcome back to a personal talk. Quick starters, I'm back in my home. Right now I'm just walking. I had to go back, so quick summary. It's not as easy to survive on your own. Alright, there was no hotels, there was nothing. I couldn't take care of myself, and there was just absolutely no way. But maybe I didn't try hard enough. The thing is, I gotta be smart with everything I do, intentional as I do. There's always a straight path. There's always a smart path. There's a lot of philosophical, there's a lot of things. But you know, a very small percentage of things. We know things that are very objective. And we also know a lot of things that are very subjective. Objective, it doesn't matter. We know we need to eat, sleep. That is the number one biological imperative. We also know, objectively, that we are all gonna die. So far, that we're aware of. And who knows, maybe there is something out there. But for the majority of people, I guess that's what, that is objective. So I had to come back. The setting up, the delusional factor, it's not as easy, but you could just do it, you know? Like, no one could just jump in and do whatever. Like, it's just a person. For an example, when someone's trying to bench, you don't expect them to do 4 or 5 if it's their first time. You usually work your way up and stuff in that matter. And I think when I left, I jumped myself into something that was out of my control entirely. The lesson learned: always be smart. Always, everything I believe. I think there's a lot of things that are possible, but you have to study how to do it. There is no way for anything you could just do it just to do it. I don't believe in that. And if that's the case for anything, then it should be a question of a matter of, that's a little suspicious, or that gotta be something. There gotta be a reason. But everything that you do, everything that you are, everything requires a science or hard work or something behind it. I refuse to believe that there isn't. If there's a complex way of why water and how everything comes together, your body and your cells, there is a very objective, principle and things of that sort. If that is a real thing, that there's, principles that are objective, if everything is very complex, right? Because I've studied facial detailing, facial analysis. I did a lot of BP stuff. There's so much complex things, so much things that are more, that are, even still to this day, we don't know too much. And right now, it's making me wonder about other things. What do I mean? And I'm going to speak into the mic because I don't want to seem like a crazy man, but everything that we have gathered on into the universe and everything is so complex that we don't really know how it works. If we knew everything, then there would be an instruction manual or people telling us, but evolutionary, learning things along the way, there's so much, and then things actively being invented or whatever, or built. So yeah, I think the greatest gift is that we have the ability to create, or our brains, or whatever the case is. I think once we utilize and figure out what is our biggest asset as a human being, we can go far. Because some people's assets are physicality, but physicality I feel like is so small. The mental world, there's just so much things to life that are unbelievably out of this touch. And I believe that persuasion, you can definitely manipulate people to do things that you want. You for sure can. If someone is easily, you can persuade, it will happen. I've seen it, it has happened to me, it has happened to others. Things are psychological. I do believe that. There is no way that there isn't. A lot of things are psychological. But there's a lot of things that are objective, psychological, physical. There's the human body, the human existence, the nature of it is so complex, and not even just the human part. The world is so complex. Like, it is so unbelievably complex that we're learning something new each day. Some things we don't know what is true, some things we do. I tend to realize that things that are always could be inaccurate, which the things that are actually inaccurate and is usually get exposed, the ones that are always get exposed the most is the people with stories or making people look bad. This is literally what I mean. Psychology is a real thing, because look at wars, look at people. There is no objective measurement, and when there is no objective proximity to actually test and see if it's true, you're kind of going off by people's word, and that creates a tangible ability to persuade people to do things. Like, for an example, religion, right? I'm not saying religion is bad, but imagine if you can somehow persuade that one person to believe that that's real, and then second, persuade that person to believe that's real, and third, if you can manage to make someone believe it, and then you get more and more, your thing, your entity, or whatever you want it to be, or whatever you're planning, or your inspo, can live on forever, or be forever. And you can make people live how you want to live it. And it's the same thing as with your kids. Your kids don't know right or wrong for a lot of things. You can persuade them to live a certain way that you want to live. It's very true. So hypnosis, psychology is a very real thing. Physically, that is also a real thing too. We already know that. And how do you know that? You know it by how you live, how you feel, how you operate. So it depends. That's why you got to be skeptical, because just like how you discover a lot of things is personal life experience. You will know when people are trying to do good for you or bad for you. You will know what's real or not real. You can just see it, you can observe it, you can feel it, you can interact with it, just like with like majority of others. And that's what I'll say. So right now, I'm in the deep minds and curious of, what I'm consuming or whatever's getting pushed, because, there's a lot of things are psychological. A lot. Military proves it. Everybody does it. If there's professionals and there is people who are actively trying to do it for every single thing, you can another one that's hypnosis or powerful or whatever. Music and television, they're the powerfulest. If you don't believe that's hypnosis or anything in that regards, you're delusional. You're delusional, because in that sense, it is super powerful. And we see it, like, when you listen to music that's sad, it affects your mood and you can feel sad. Or it could change, basically the whole thing, science is like the tempo, the part of the nervous system of it changes. You can manipulate based off of just the tempo of the beat, and then not just that, the instrumental, alternate words, the pitches. It can influence a lot. And I have no clue what's going on over there, but that's why you got to be watching out and being prepared of what people say. Also, we are humans that mirror a lot of things. That's why we're easily able to be persuaded or manipulated, because humans like to mirror each other. Once you learn the studies or the science behind a lot of things, which I mean science, I mean observations that is factual. You don't even have to use the word science. Observation that is just factual. So we know whenever we feel uncomfortable, our safest mechanism to be friends with other people is to mirror them, mirror their lingo, body, the way they talk. No one cannot say that's not normal. Every person that you think is super cool or really want, people mirror. And people go into the extreme that like plastic surgery, a bunch of things. Mirroring is this is all psychological. That's why I believe like the mind is so, powerful, because everything that we do in our life, as the point outside of the biological necessities, have been just pure utter psychology. It has been. No one cannot persuade or say anything otherwise to me. Everything is psychological, because humans want to feel belonging. They want the tribal. They want everything. But it's dangerous because the media, that's how enslavement happens. You can't really enslave someone that's out of your proximity. It is way harder. I believe that. Because they can't consume, it can't go actively in their mind over and over and over and over. I mean, you could be from the distance and running a place, but rebellion, certain things, more doubt, but when it's actively in front of you and actively being pushed and you can't really think. Just like when there's the word startle. When you startle someone can't really comprehend or react in time because their brain is rattled. It's like a surprise. It's like their brain is trying to process everything that's going on. So when you rattle someone, just like you keep pressing and pushing media information that is extreme or it's too much, you don't know what's right or wrong. A lot of things are psychological because I learned that through also sales. I experienced it real time. And this isn't like me trying to push it. I'm just saying like this is observation for myself. I would like people to know, but it is for me. And it's hard to believe people unless you see it through their actions and how it is. If my behavior and everything stays the same, I wasn't using this out of my own benefit. Patterns. Catching patterns is the key way to catch if someone's real or bullshit. It matters a lot. But like sales, they told me number one thing. They were like, never think in your head when you're doing like a sale is, oh, you're trying to make them get like the product or whatever. It's just like you're trying to help them out. So like already off the bat, it's already trying to psychologically persuade me or change my outlet of what I'm doing. And it's not inherently a bad thing, but I think when you start pretty much essentially doing that, I think it leaves rooms to vulnerability and it leaves more room to, you know, getting into people's mind. If you make little things, make it normal and be like, oh yeah, this is okay. Well, once in a while I do this and that, and then you keep doing it, and then you add more chunks, and then you add more intensity behind it, the more you got that person persuaded. And when you can show that you can also help them, you know, while it's purely your benefit, but you have you ever heard, it's like, also, we are also very animalistic, right? You give a dog food, a dog that's a stray. Once it knows you gave it food and wants to come back and see if you're going to get food, you give it a little bit of food and more and more and more. Eventually, that dog is just going to be loyal to you because no one else did. So, humans are very opportunists. So, because of that, you can psychologically get in their brain and get them to do whatever you want. So, now there's a lot of people, great people who can, like, think about it. If movie directors, like, you look at very, like, behind the scenes, thankfully we get this opportunity because people have a fascination or like it, and not everybody's have bad intentions, I'm assuming. You look at behind the scenes of movies, there is so much fucking detail. The choreography, the coloring, the lighting, the everything. They put so much to persuade the person to believe. When you look at, and this is why I can't grasp superstars, right, compared to normal people. I've always felt like they were, and everybody would say this, the most untouchable. It's not that they're inherently untouchable. It's because they're just famous. They're famous, and they get all this extra work done, not just looks for their appearance to look good, but a bunch of things. They manage to persuade you or make you think you're that superior than them, while you're not. You're not. And I think you realize that, especially when you're in their day-to-day life. I think you realize how much normal they are, actually. I had fortunately seeing the truth behind a lot of things that are, by meaning, like, the elites. I was a former teammate of a track and field athlete, Tate Taylor. Dude was very chill, very funny. But people, the way they make it seem like he was always working hard, always pushing hard. And, you know, it wasn't genetics. First of all, it was genetics. He got there super far in his stuff because of genetics, just like me. I never really worked too hard. I got where I wanted, you know, collegiate level, because of genetics. And what was it? Tate, pretty much everything that they said pretty much in his documentary was, when I met him, was completely, I'm not going to say completely different. There is some substance, like, he was pretty well religious and a well-rounded kid, but he wasn't exactly inherently like how he was in his thing. And he wasn't this crazy, like, his day-to-day life wasn't a fucking big shot. Like, he was, you know, everybody's like, oh, he's always doing something crazy. He's always, no, majority of his life that I was a part of was, he was a normal kid, a normal dude, just like me, a normal life. So the perception behind certain things, if you can really persuade or manipulate or make them believe, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. That's why I'm big on the power of the mind. John Jones, every athlete, psychologically. Now, the matter of serious question, I believe in psychological aspects. Also, if there's a way that has been observed and tested, which is science, and is proven true, then I for sure believe it. And I believe in the physical realm. Everybody knows this because it's something that's surface. We can see. Psychological people don't really believe it because it's just hard to believe, but it is real. Now, what I wonder, and I truly want to know if it's real or not, is the matter of pretty much the spiritual world, which I believe the spiritual world ties with psychological world in many ways, because you can't see both of them in those realms. I think the psychological one has just been more tested and more proven and more better, but yeah, I mean, spiritual, I am curious. I don't know if it's entirely true. I think the day once I truly believe it is real and everything is, then yeah. But I do believe, and I feel like I know for a fact, if you can manage to persuade or make someone believe in something, then you got them. You got them. Got them under the spell. You got them under everything. And that's psychology, pretty much. But you can also understand a person because of psychology, using your brain to understand their patterns for certain things, why they feel like this, why they think like this, why do they do this. So, also psychologically, too, is like belief system. That is a part of it. So I think everything ties majority into that. That's why I said like those two, I believe they're truly real because they have been mostly tested and we've seen in more real time and all that. But science behind it, spiritual, it's a little hard to grasp. I think once I see more data, science behind it, and also me, the more if I see more, I'll do better. I think like the most powerful things are, I guess, maybe the ones you can see, a little out of this physical realm to see. I think that's why they have like the most, pretty much impact, I guess. And what I really do remember from Tay is just, I mean, on the media, on YouTube and everything, he's like a fucking celebrity, but when I remember him, he was just this normal dude. Like, I just remember him from, classes and school and, just being on his phone majority of times, just like kids. But, there was like that small percentage where he would shine, go out there and smash records, but no one really will see how, like, it's the perception of making it seem like he was a fucking superstar all the time and he was doing all these crazy shit and he's living the crazy life. He's running with Noah Lyles and professional sprinters and all that. Like, the way they make it perceived is, like, insane. But once you actually were, at least thankfully I'm fortunate, associated with, and just seeing how some of that perceived as extreme and, hanging with professional athletes, and it seems good on camera, it's like, damn, he's doing something. But when you see it in person, it's like, oh, fuck. Like, he's a very normal dude. Like, so it's a bit crazy. It's a bit crazy. You think they'll be doing a lot or be doing crazy shit, but no, just normal dude. That's like, I guess, like, for me, the craziest thing, like, realization. Also, like, someone when they're, like, really, like, good looking or whatever, you would assume that they're just exceptional at everything, crazy good, and you realize they're very normal. You're like, oh shit. But I guess that's what I mean, like, the power of the perception, like the psychological behind it, being able to perceive things, not even just your ability to perceive things, but making you believe to perceive things. It's crazy. It is crazy. That's what I mean. Like, I think we covered a lot in the physical realm and the physical attributes, but when it comes to the psychological and the spiritual, the realm that's the realm that we can't really see. It's very little that we know, but it's also finally tapping into, and we do know more. And it's a very interesting thing, and that's what I'm going into, because the worst thing that someone can do is force you to do something that you don't want to do, and just a lot of things. It is very interesting. Like I said, I think there's a good and there's a bad. I think sometimes inherently we have to be also a little bit bad, but you can't have one over the other, I believe. But I don't know. It's so interesting because maybe if you look into the science, is it important to be a good person? Like, what's the importance? I mean, the spiritual realm we know, but what is the importance? Because there's sometimes where you gotta do bad things, and maybe it's for survival, or maybe it's for something else. But just know you can't have one over the other, and it's just interesting. The opportunist of people is it's fascinating, and crazy. This world is interesting. This world is crazy. But I guess in a lot of things, it's a matter of choice how you want to live it. I guess it really is. At the end of the day, how do you want to live it? I don't know. So, God, this world. So much. Because all you can do is take it day by day. Focus on the things that do matter. Objective principles, biologically need to survive and live, versus the things that are subjective, because there's a yin and a yang. I truly believe that at the bottom of my heart in life, there is a yin and there is a yang. One cannot stop. One needs a balance. One needs a balance, a yin and a yang. I truly, I will die believing in that. I will die. And maybe that's our balance. Maybe that's the key way in order to survive, because it is think about it. People come and live, and then they gotta leave. Come and live, and they gotta leave. Same thing with the seasons, same thing with a bunch of things. It's maybe a perfect balance. I don't know. But it's interesting. I think that's objectively true. And all that stuff is interesting. Yeah. Peace out.